Good morning. Barry Bryson here. Thank you for joining me for another 5 good minutes with the Word. And we're continuing our study of three Marys through whom we get to know Jesus, I think, a lot better. Mary, his mother, Mary of Bethany, and Mary Magdalene. And we're in John 19, and we're going to be talking about this last moment between Jesus and his mother in the Gospels, and how he provides for her from the cross. Um, we have just looked at three consecutive episodes. When he's 12, when he's beginning his ministry at the marriage of Cana, and a little later when his mother and brothers go out to try to take custody of him, where there's a tension between Mary and Jesus, and who he is and his responsibility to his Father in heaven, and we see it grow. Um, And this is not a woman who is oblivious to who he is. This is a woman who has known before he was conceived who he was to be. Um, this is a woman who has a pondering heart. This is a woman God chose. She's the perfect choice to be Jesus' mom. And but I also think that we can understand how hard it would have been. I mean, Simeon said when they took him to the temple when he was a newborn, said to her, looked her in the eye, and said, "A sword will pierce your heart. It's going to feel like somebody stabbed you right in the heart. That's what's waiting for you through this child." And of course, it's true. I mean, that's what happens today. For all the things that we've said and all the tension that we've observed, when they crucify him, she's there. I don't know. I mean, you'd have to be there if it's your kid, but how could you see that? How could you be there and watch the Roman soldier put his boot on Jesus' forearm to hold it in place while he chiseled a spike through the base of his wrist? And how could you be there to see him struggle to exhale and have to pull himself up by his wounds just to breathe? But she was there, at least until Jesus made arrangements for her to go somewhere else, which is what he does today. John chapter 19, verse 23. The soldiers, therefore, when they had crucified Jesus, took his outer garments and divided them 4 ways, a part to every soldier. And there was also the tunic. The tunic was seamless, woven in one piece. By whom, by the way? By his mom, of course. And they said to one another, "Let us not tear it, but let's gamble for it to decide whose it shall be. Let us cast lots for it." This happened that the scripture might be fulfilled. They divided my outer garments among them, and for my clothing they cast lots. Psalm 22:18. Chilling psalm to read, by the way. Therefore the soldiers did these things. And they were standing by the cross of Jesus, right there, his mom, his aunt, his mother's sister, and then also Mary, the wife of Clopas, and Mary Magdalene. When Jesus therefore saw his mother and the disciple whom he loved standing nearby, he said to his mother, "Woman, look at your son." And he said to the disciple, "Look at your mother." And from that moment, the disciple took her into his own household. And Jesus, knowing all things had already been accomplished, in order that scripture might be fulfilled, said, I am thirsty. He knew once he'd said this that he had fulfilled his obligations. And one of those obligations was to his mom, because he's head of household, and he has to make sure she's going to be cared for. And I don't know where his brothers are or where their heads are, but I do know this. He doesn't trust any of them to take care of his mom moving forward. And so he, as it is his responsibility to do, provides for his mother in the Apostle John's household. And it's at this very moment when the soldiers are there rattling the bones to see who gets to have the tunic that she herself has weaved for him, that Jesus makes sure she doesn't see anymore. And from that very moment, and I don't think this just means from then on, I think it means from that very moment. From that very moment, he took her away and included her in his household. Jesus on the cross thoroughly completed his responsibility to his Father in heaven and his mother on earth. That's an amazing thing to think about. When he was hanging from the cross, that's what he did. I mean, he took care of other people. He said, Father, forgive them. They don't know what they're doing. He said to the thief on the cross, today you'll be with me in paradise. And he took care of his mom, too. And when he had taken care of his mom, he knew, okay, it's finished now. I can go home. Um, I just love this detail, and I love that at the end of the first century, John doesn't pass from this earth before telling us the story that we don't have yet from the other gospel writers. It's so important to us about Jesus himself and his relationship with his mom. Okie doke. Well, thank you for joining me for another 5 good minutes with the Word. We have one more session with Mary. We're going to look at Acts 1 next time. Thank you for being with me. We'll pick up there when we're together.